Nobody move.
Nobody gets hurt.
I'm Nick G.
I'm Mike D.
And this is Good Cop, Bad Cop. This episode of the Good Cop, Bad Cop podcast is proudly presented by the New Solutions Network. Where powerful stories ignite transformative change, we dive deep to reveal unfiltered truth shaped by grit and resilience, illuminating even the darkest corners. Have a story to share or want to sponsor a show that drives real impact? Reach out to the New Solutions Network. This isn't just media, it's a movement. Visit us at newsolutionsnetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors today, Pop McCann Whiskey, smoothest drink in the land. Grab your bottle today at popsmccannwhiskey.com. Also like to thank Friends of Martina White. Visit votemartina.com for more information about the work Martina has been doing as state representative of Pennsylvania. We would also like to thank our sponsor, Beyond Creative. If you're ready to take your online presence to the next level, visit beyondocreative.com or call 267-362-WEB1 to discuss your project. And our title sponsor, AR Law, arjusticenow.com. We fight so you don't have to. Adams Renzi Law. We would also like to thank our sponsor, Morrow Flooring, hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, and carpet. You get military and first responders discount. That is Morrow Flooring. You can go to goodcopbadcoppodcast.com. Click on his link for more details. All right, welcome back. We got another great episode of Good Cop, Bad Cop. I'm Nick G.
I'm Mike D.
Looking good, man. You got a new blazer on today?
Yeah, you know, I had the pink and the red one, and the other day, well, you were absent. I had a nice, what color was
floral.
that?
I seen it.
Oh, you saw the
floral? Yeah, I saw your floral pattern.
Oh, you saw the floral? Oh, you saw it the night before.
Yeah.
At the party that I invited you to at Natania's house.
Yeah, which I went. I showed up.
You did show. You did leave, but you showed.
I love how you're in touch with your feminine side.
Hey, someone's got to touch it.
With your blazers, yeah.
Someone's got to touch it.
I know it hasn't been touched in a long time.
It's been a while since I came home.
So here at the Good Cop, Bad Cop podcast, just, you know, for our listeners to know, we're not all about law enforcement. You know, we've touched a lot of subjects from military vets, PTSD.
Entertainment.
Entertainment. You know, we dabble in politics.
Psychedelics.
Yeah, psychedelics.
Drugs. No drugs.
A little bit of drugs. Today will be a little bit more of a serious conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we have our guest today, Jason Myrtetus. Did I say that right, Jason?
Close, Myrtetus.
Jason Myrtetus. He's the host of the Flyers, which would be the Philadelphia Flyers Daily Podcast, and he's a Philadelphia Flyers broadcaster from the NHL. So, and he's also,
from the Broad Street Bullies.
Broad Street Bullies.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, they're not that anymore.
Far.
Well, that's what So now you know where I come
from. Far from it, but part of the conversation we're going to have, Jason's in his own fight today. He's battling cancer, something that we're going to get into and discuss.
Okay, good.
So, how, just jump right in. How are you feeling, Jason?
I'm feeling all right. I'm in the middle of kind of phase 1 of my treatment now, and that is 8 chemo sessions, infusions, over 16 weeks. My last one was 12 days ago, and they had to remove an element of my treatment out of that one.
All right, so we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning. I want to get into a little bit early of your life. You have a very interesting story. So as we're talking earlier, you got into radio around 2011. So right before that, like 2010, what were you doing?
No, I've been in radio since '94. I've been in radio for 31 years.
Since the Rangers won the Cup. So you've been in since Marc Messier skated around the ice.
The guarantee.
The guarantee. And I was in.
Was that '94?
I was in federal prison. I don't know if it was the end of June or the beginning of July. That's how late the season runs, right? And
it was in June.
It was the end of June. And Messier guaranteed it, and it was against Vancouver, I believe. They beat
the final one.
Yeah,
the guarantee, I think, was against
the Devils. Was the Devils? Yes. He came back and they beat the Devils, and then he basically went on to beat Vancouver. And I'll tell you, you might appreciate this because we're obviously hockey nuts, right? So we're on lockdown. It's actually the TIA gets locked at 11 o'clock at night. And
did you know he's a federal convict before coming into this?
I
not
didn't,
shocked, are you?
You were on lockdown. I wasn't on lockdown.
Yeah, I was. So it was 11 o'clock at night, and they hit the lockdown. So I'm like, no. The Rangers are, they're playing the playoffs. It was about 10 after 11. There was a couple of minutes left in the game. I think they were winning 4-2. They were going to win, and they're like, okay, well, they're going to win. It's no, it's not over.
Yeah.
I said,
Not
I'm going.
New York.
I'm going on for a long sentence. Okay, it's 1994. I'm in 2 years. I'm being sentenced, and I don't know how long I'm being sentenced for yet. So I'm waiting to get my sentence. And actually, that's not true. I didn't know at that point. I was getting 14 years. So I'm down 2 years, and they're about to shut the unit down. All right, the Rangers are winning. It's 10 after 11. They won, and now they're going to shut the tier down. Everybody, I said, no. I ran up to the TV, and I grabbed the box so that the CO couldn't turn it off because he had to turn it off with the switch. I said, no. I ain't locking down till they raise that cup. I said, I don't care what you do to me after. I don't care what you do to me after this, but until that cup goes in the air and they skate around the ice with it at least one time, I'm not locking down. And the CO, because I was a compliant guy, I mean, I'm trying to get through this nonsense. He looks at me, he goes, he didn't want to have a fight because he didn't know. He was a Spanish guy. Not that many Spanish guys know a lot about hockey back in the 90s, okay? It wasn't broadened out. He's like, what do you mean? I said, if they don't raise that cup, they didn't win. So sure enough, they raise the cup. Messier skates around the ice, and then Dickey hands it off to Brian Leach next, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it went. And I said, okay. I put my hands behind my back. I figured he's taking me off to segregation. He goes, go ahead, go lock down. Because everybody, the whole city was enamored at that point. So
Yeah.
Little did you know
that's
that's the
forever
last
since
time.
they won it.
Yeah, right. So there you go. So that's my claim to
51
fame.
years or something?
Yeah, whatever it was at that point. It was 1940, so to 90.
And then the Flyers went on to lose, 3 that decade?
In the 90s?
Yeah. We lost 3 Stanley Cups, right?
Only one in the 90s, in 97 against Detroit. They won, or they lost 3, though, in the 80s. They lost in 80, 85, 87. And then they lost again in 2010.
We weren't in the
That must have been Edmonton then. They must have lost to Edmonton, right?
We weren't in the Stanley Cups at least 2 times in the 90s?
No, just once in the only 97. In the 80s, it was 1980 was the Islanders that was the first of 4 straight cups. So the Flyers won back-to-back cups in 74 and 75. They lost in
to the
76 to Montreal, who won 4 straight.
Right.
Then they lost in 80 to the Islanders, who won 4 straight.
Right.
They lost in 85 and 87 to the Oilers, who won 4 in 6 years.
Right.
So another dynasty.
Yeah.
Then they lost in 97 to Detroit, who won 3 cups in 5 years.
Yeah.
So
And they lost in 2010. It was the Chicago's first cup.
Listen
3
to
cups
this.
in
This
6
is
years.
great. I love this.
I got a good
So
story.
it's who you face when you get there. A lot of times, They got a dynasty every time they get some patsy like Vancouver.
Yeah, right. You
Listen,
couldn't get a one-timer.
I got a quick story in '97. You're the guest. We're going to get to you and let you talk. I promise. We didn't bring you on so you can listen to us. 1997. The Flyers are playing Detroit in the Cup. Right. How old are you, Jason? You're around my age, right?
I'll be 53 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. You said the early '90s. I'm like, this guy's my age.
Yeah. No.
I thought you're. So I'm 46. We're not that far off.
Yeah.
So '97, right at Front and Snyder in South Philly, they have these cars painted up in Detroit logo and stuff like that, and they have 2 sledgehammers. And it was a radio promotion, and you can get 2 hits and smash the smash the car with a sledgehammer. So first guy takes a swing. People are hitting it. Some guy misses a car, smashes the sledgehammer, it's broke. So I'm up. So I take a good swing at the chrome bumper because it's an older
You missed
car.
that. You hit your leg.
Oh, no, I didn't hit it. I smacked that chrome bumper, dude. Very good. Sledgehammer explodes. So now no one has anything to hit the car with. Well, a riot ensued after that. They flipped the car. I'm in my Ryan uniform. I just graduated. It was my graduation day. So I'm like, yeah, we got to go, man. Me and my buddies slid to the back while they're riding and flipping cars. It was pretty fun.
So you kicked off a riot.
We kicked off a riot. Proud of that.
Very good, very good. So your career as a broadcaster, or lead us up to it.
Yeah, so it's the 90s. You're in radio. Now, did you always have that radio voice, or did you work on it?
I guess I did. I never wanted to be on the radio. Like, that wasn't any aspiration of mine. I went to college at Penn State to play hockey, and I had to declare forestry as my major to get in because I wasn't a great student. And then when I got there, I realized that there was too much math and science and
forestry?
answers in forestry. So
Jesus, I thought it was just fires and water. That's why I thought forestry.
I thought it was cool though. I was like, I'll hang out in the woods.
Yeah.
So you went to Penn State, Maine?
Yeah. Yep.
You didn't get thrown out your first year? You made it the entire...
No, I made it. I made it longer than I should have probably.
Good man.
I stretched it out a bit. And I changed my major when I was there to broadcast cable communications, it was called at the time. Because I had a teacher in high school, my public speaking teacher, that told me you should think about doing radio. You know, you got a good voice. You have no problem getting in front of people talking. So I changed my major, and I was working at a beer distributor. Beer distributors were drive-through up there. So I was a beer runner. I'd go out to the car, give me a case of Budweiser or whatever, I'd run and get it. And a guy came in and was paying with a check right after I changed my major. It was still the summer. And he had a radio station, had on long hair, and I saw his name on his check. It was Ed Wenk. And I said, oh, you're that Wenk in the Morning guy. He was the morning show host at
a great name.
the rock radio station up there, Ed Wenk. And it wasn't Wank. It was actually Wenck. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I just changed my major to broadcast cable. I was thinking about doing an internship. He's like, I'd love to have the beer guy as an intern. So meet with me tomorrow after the show. So I went and met, and I've been doing radio for 31 years.
This all started with a case of beer.
Yeah, I think it was a case of Labatt's.
Labatt's,
oh yeah.
That's great. That's a good hockey beer, too.
Was that a Canadian beer?
Yeah.
Was Labatt's Canadian?
Yeah, that's a good hockey beer.
Molson and Labatt's.
Molson and Labatt's, yeah.
So you got a scholarship to Penn State?
No, I didn't get a scholarship, but I just went to Penn State and freaking loved it. It was a blast. I did radio there for 6 years.
And you played hockey on their team?
Yeah, they were only club team when I was there.
Okay. Were you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were a good team. And then eventually got out of school, stayed there, worked in radio for a little bit, doing rock radio, and then came back and worked at WYSP here.
Yeah, 94.
In 99, I came back here, and then started doing stuff for the WIP. They were owned by, at the time, it was called Infinity Broadcasting.
Right.
Which was CBS Radio, turned into CBS Radio, and I worked. So I was doing stuff at YSP. I was also working at WIP. I was doing voice work for WOGL and WPHT and stuff like that as well. So, and eventually I made my way to WIP full time, and left YSP, and that's when I probably around 05 is when I went spoken word full time, which was WIP.
So when did WIP switch over from 94 WYSP?
2011.
It was 2011. Okay.
Yep.
Who's your most memorable guest that you met in person, if you had any of that?
I mean, up until that point,
well, up until today,
music radio. I'm meeting all the guys that I love listening to. Like, I mean, I interviewed Robert Plant at the Electric Factory and got beat up by his tour manager.
Oh, what?
Interesting.
All right, why don't you tell that story?
Oh shit.
So it was Memorial Day weekend, I think 2002, and I was supposed to do a show from the Robert Plant concert at the Electric Factory. He was there with a band of like assorted guys. There was a guitar player from The Cure was in his band, and just like this hodgepodge like kind of tour that he was doing. And I was going to do the show there that Sunday night, like for YSP. And so I got there, and I'd asked the record label, can I get an interview? And they said, not doing any interviews. It's only the second show of the tour, blah, blah, blah. But, when you get there, see what you can work out. So I found the tour manager, asked him, he's like, sure, yeah, you can interview him after sound check. Just be around. So I said, all right. So I'm hanging out by the soundboard, and they start sound check, and like the band's on the stage, but Plant's not there. And then all of a sudden, I'm standing at the soundboard with my guy from the radio station, and Plant comes out and comes behind the soundboard. He's telling the band what to do through sound check. And Bill Kerbishley, who's the manager of Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones, comes out, and everybody's kind of talking as they're going through sound check. As soon as it's over, he comes up to me and goes, you want to do this now? And I said, sure. I had a mini disc recorder, and I recorded an interview with him for 15 minutes. I don't even get a chance to turn the mini disc recorder off, and I start to walk away, and I get jacked from behind from this little English tour manager, thinking that like I like accosted him to get the interview. I'm like, no, he came up to me. You guys kicking me, and Michael Lester from the Electric Factory concerts is jumping in, and he kicked us out of the venue. Kicked us out, kicked Y100 out, and kicked MMR out of the venue.
Wow.
So I go into the parking lot and I call my boss. My boss was Tim Sabian, who ran the Stern channels on Sirius XM. And I called Tim.
It wasn't how. What's his Mod?
Tim ran all of his stuff.
We know what I'm talking about.
He was very close with Howard. Bowie. So I go in the parking lot, and Tim was a maniac. I call him, and I tell him the whole story. He goes, wait a minute, you got an interview with Plant? I go, yeah. He goes, all right, great job. Go back to the station, get it on the air. You got him and Mark kicked out too? He goes, yeah, really good job. So that happened, and my promotions guy was with me. He's taking pictures on the camera of me interviewing Plant. I'm like, stay with me. I don't know when it's going to happen. So he takes the pictures. The next day, they fired DeBella, and they get Opie and Anthony to do afternoons. So that same guy, promotions guy, goes to New York to take pictures of Opie and Anthony eating like a cheesesteak and wearing a Phillies hat because they're coming to YSP. Right. Double exposes all my Robert Plant pictures.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
So they're like, Opie and Anthony are eating cheesesteak, and I'm sitting there talking to Robert Plant in like the printed photo.
Jesus.
Oh, that's terrible, man. That would have been great photos.
Yeah.
All right, so you're doing sports talk radio. Did you hop right into it in 2011?
I was in it since 04, 05. I was doing
Okay.
stuff at WIP, and I was in management there, doing programming. I was running the station, and then eventually left there in 2011, and that's when I joined Mike full-time,
Okay.
Missinelli. And Mike worked with me at WIP as well, so I knew him from the WIP days.
He's a big on-air sports personality in Philly, Mike Missinelli.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Like
So
Mike,
I knew all
like
those
Mike
guys,
and the Mad Dog.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Philly version, kind of Mike and the Dog. So, yeah, I jumped in with Mike and worked with him for a bunch of years, 5-6 years, and then did my own show with Harry in Midday and Anthony, and then left in 2019.
Yeah, it was a great show, man. I really enjoyed listening to you.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mike was fun to work with.
Yeah, I was fumbling through Artie Lang. That's what I was trying to get.
Okay, Artie Lang.
Yeah, Artie, because Artie, I did an interview with Stern many, many years ago, and Artie happened to not show up for the pre-interview interview.
Yeah.
And he had all the questions all lined up for Stern. So when I went in the interview, Stern had no idea where to start, where to begin, where to end. Artie was supposed to be prompting him, how he prompts him in his ear and stuff like that. And I had the girl behind the Jackie, was it Jackie?
Yeah.
Quivers?
No, Robin.
Robin Quivers. Robin Quivers. Yeah, she's behind the thing. What a mess that turned. It was the worst interview I ever did. Yeah.
Yeah, because Artie Lang.
Yeah, and he goes to Robin. He goes, "What do you think? I just came home. All right, I just did 12 and a half years. I'm jacked. I'm not ugly." And she goes, he's all right. I'm like, "Fuck, bitch, I wouldn't fuck you anyway. Are you kidding me?"
Like to thank our sponsors today, Martina White. Friends of Martina White can visit votemartina.com for more information about the work Martina's been doing as a state representative in Pennsylvania. Let me tell you, Mike, she's a big supporter of police. She backs the blue. She's a proven fighter for families, women, everybody.
Is she a patriot? Is she America first?
Absolutely. She encompasses, the American spirit for sure. We have a big population of listeners in Northeast Philadelphia, Southeast Pennsylvania, which would be her area. So you can check her out.
Has she been in? I'm not familiar with the Philly district. Is she new to the scene, or is she looking for re-election?
She'll be up for re-election in a couple years, but she's been around for a while. She has a proven track record.
Okay.
You can check her out. Her record really speaks for itself, especially when it comes to fighting for everyday citizens and backing the blue.
It's nice to have someone back in the blue. I mean, the officers are out there risking their lives every day, and with little pay and little appreciation in today's environment, it's been very difficult. And as you know, being a Philadelphia guy,
unfortunately, that's something that's not common. Should be. It used to be a time where both sides of the aisle agreed on law enforcement, and that's something that's completely lacking. But with Martina White, she steps up to the plate, always has our backs, and does what's right.
Great. Good luck with Martina.
Yeah, you can get more information at votemartina.com. I'd like to thank our title sponsor of the show, Adams Renzi Law, AR Law. They can be found at arjusticenow.com. And just to let you know, I know both of them personally. Christy, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, total sweetheart, absolute pit bull in the courtroom. And Nick Renzi, he's a South Philadelphia guy, true and true, neighborhood man, for the people. He helps people out down in South Philly, all around Philadelphia.
Their office is in South Philly itself?
Yes, their office is in right around South Philly, Center City, right on the border.
Do they handle
there.
a lot of criminal cases?
They handle everything, absolutely.
Are they on call 24/7 for someone who might take a pinch somewhere?
Why, you might be taking a pinch
I mean,
that
you never know. I mean, wherever you show up, you got to be ready.
Well, you can keep their card on you.
Well,
Go to their
well,
website and
good.
call them up.
Will they give me a deal since they're sponsors of the show?
You might get a percentage off. I'll have to talk to her.
Okay. Yeah.
If you used them a few years ago, you might have not have gotten 14 years.
Well, that's another story.
Another story for another time.
That's right.
Again, AR Law, check them out. arjusticenow.com.
We would also like to thank our sponsor, Beyond.0. In today's world, your business is practically invisible if you're not online. With so many options for marketing your business, it's easy to get confused. That's where Beyond.0 Creative steps in. They have the expertise to help you with all of your marketing needs. Need a website that wows visitors? They'll build it. Want to reach more customers with Google Ads? They'll make it happen. They'll even manage your social media so you can focus on what you do best. Beyond.0 Creative is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and Google Premier Partner. They're the real deal. If you're ready to take your online presence to the next level, visit beyondocreative.com. That's BIONDOCREATIVE.com or call 267-362-WEB1, Web 1 to discuss your project now.
I'd like to thank our sponsor, Morrow Flooring, hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, and carpet, military first responder discount. You know, Tommy, we had him as a guest on a podcast. You can get your flooring done by a real American hero.
Yeah, and he's on time and on budget.
Yes, he is. He will beat any price. Bring a quote, an estimate, whatever you have. Tommy will beat it, 100% guaranteed. You have our backing on that one.
And he'll be there himself.
Absolutely. You can get a real American hero do your flooring for you.
Well, after 12 and a half years,
I already had something.
you've been going a long time.
Yeah. Well, the guys look better than her, half of them, all right? So, but anyway, that's a different story.
All right, so you end up leaving the 97.5 to Fanatic. Was that a little bit of adversity? Was it mutual?
No, it wasn't mutual. It was a reduction in force. It was called a corporate RIF. They have a reduction in force. It was they can fire you, not pay you out your contract, and they just can't replace you.
Right. Okay.
There's like a stipulation in your contract. So I had a year and change left on my contract, and I got like 3 months severance. It was total.
They screwed you over.
So I was not happy.
Right.
Yeah, I was not happy about it.
Now, were you worried about what was next, or is that kind of?
I mean, yeah, I had 3 kids, you know, so yeah, you're worried about it. I'd been doing the Flyers since 2008, though, as a supplemental thing. So I put things together pretty quick there to just go there full time, as opposed to just doing supplemental broadcast stuff for them.
And the organization just brought you right on full time?
Yeah, it took a couple months, but yeah.
Okay.
I was over there. I was let go on Halloween, and I started over there in January. So
yeah, that's not too bad. That's before your severance ran out.
So that was full-time radio, or did you do TV also?
No, I was doing full time radio, and then when I was let go, when I went to the Flyers full time, I took on we launched the Flyers Broadcast Network, which was their on demand network. So I do daily podcasts, and I do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, okay. So that's what you
plus games. Yeah.
So that's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do now.
Well, and how long ago?
I started there full time. I've been there since 2019, but I've been with the team since 2008.
Okay.
I've been doing games.
Are you traveling for away games too?
No, I'm not. I'm not doing any games on site right now because I'm sick.
Prior to that?
No, prior.
Yeah, prior to that.
I had traveled at times. Always the home games I do from the building, and sometimes traveled before. But right now I'm not doing any road games. I don't do any home games. I do everything from my home studio here.
All right, yeah. But before we jump into your battle, let's just keep it a little light. We'll talk about some of your NHL experiences. Anything you got a funny story, something pop out?
I mean, over the year, like where I'm set up is I do the intermission, so like I get an off ice interview, like. After the period's over, they walk a player into me. I request them, and they walk in the room. I mean, like in that room, anything can happen. So, like, you're getting a guy
who just had a fight.
Pot
Who just
right
had a
off the
fight.
ice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he could just have hit a post for a game-tying goal. You don't know. Or made a mistake. So, I mean, I've had guys walk into that room and smash my broadcast table with a stick. And then it's like, all right, you want to do the interview? I'm like, are you sure? We're ready to go live on the radio. And that happens, and Jake Voracek walks in and takes a two-hander to the broadcast table. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in those situations. 2010, we went to the finals, which was crazy because, they go down 0-3 to the Bruins, and then they come back and they win that in 7 after being down 0-3 in the series. And, we go to Jersey first, then to Boston, then you're in Montreal for the conference finals in that city in the spring, and then to Chicago for the final, and then they end up losing Game 6 over in overtime in the final.
Oh, it was terrible.
So some crazy runs. It was fun. It's it beats the shit out of, working.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Now, did you know Mookie?
Who is it?
Mookie, Tom.
No.
He was inside the visitors' penalty box when Ty Domi had his fight.
Guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I was wondering if you knew him. He's a retired Philly cop.
Yeah, a lot of Philly cops work down there, actually, in the building and security and stuff like that, too. So, yeah, there's a lot of old Philly cops down there.
All right, so let's lead up to your, I guess, your diagnosis. What was going on with you that made you, want to get checked out? Yeah, I read your story. I know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, like over the last, I'm going to be 53, so, like, things start falling apart on you, I wasn't kind to my body. I didn't treat it like a temple growing up. I beat it up, and I had fun along the way. I partied along the way. We did rock radio. We thought we were rock stars without instruments, and so we got after it good. And playing hockey my whole life, I was beat up physically, so you get to your mid 45s. I could see gray. I could see through walls for my entire life. Now all of a sudden I can't read what's in front of me. Right, I'm getting glasses and like that.
Sounds like
I figured my body's breaking down a little bit, and I knew something wasn't right though. Like I could feel it, and I was having some symptoms of some other stuff, and along the way, and just knew something wasn't right, but I kept denying it. I was like, it's just the aging process. Maybe I have an allergy to food now, or I'm lactose intolerant. I don't know. You can find anything on the internet. Yeah, hemorrhoids is one thing you can think of too, and you got all this going on, all these GI issues, and going to the bathroom. It got crazy. I go to the bathroom 30, 40 times a day.
That's not normal.
No, what? And bleeding from your, all kinds of. So something's wrong, and I'm in denial about it. But eventually, my symptoms flipped from chronic diarrhea to a constipation because I had a blockage that I didn't know I had with a tumor, and I ended up in the ER with severe constipation. That kind of sped everything up. I had a colonoscopy scheduled, but I couldn't schedule it before. Right. And I scheduled this in late July for February, mid-February.
So you're 52 at this time?
Yeah, I'm 52.
Have you ever had a colonoscopy before that?
No.
So, you're supposed to get it at 45, right?
50.
45 now, yeah. It used to be
they
50,
lowered it
now
to
it's
45.
Well, then they lowered it because when I got it was supposed to be at 50. I never got it done.
I'm a year late. You never had one?
No, I do the Cologuard now.
You got a couple in prison, didn't you?
Well, not intentionally.
With the meat scope?
Yeah, they were they were better at that than most doctors. Yeah, they don't hit and miss.
Yeah, I mean the colonoscopy is easy. The actual colonoscopy is butter. I mean it's like you just go to sleep, you wake up.
Yeah, they perforated my mother. That's why I've been a little scared. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they don't even you don't even know that they were there the next day.
Yeah.
With all that. The prep sucks.
Yeah.
Right. Your brain's out and the whole thing, but. Yeah, I mean, get it done because you don't want to go where I went and have to deal with what I'm dealing with, or people dealing with even worse. Yeah. I got lucky. I put it off for a long time and was in denial, and they still got it before it spread.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, when they stage it 3 ways. They stage it. I'm stage 3B because of the size of the tumor. LN2, which is proximity to lymph nodes. And then M0. The M0 is a big one, though, because that's metastasis, which is spread. I have 0 spread. So I'm lucky that I got it before it spread to other. And when it spreads, it becomes stage 4.
Yeah.
Right.
And there is no stage 5. So I'm in a treatment plan that's called curative, where they can cure me of it. I could be cancer-free. And because of my age and, by their standards, I'm in good health. They're very aggressive with my treatment for it to not return.
Right.
So, but that being said, the very aggressive treatment is very rough treatment.
Oh, you look great.
I don't feel
I'm
great.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure you're going through it.
I mean, I lost 42 pounds since November. I'm beat up from the chemo. Yeah. The chemo's cumulative, and like I was saying before, the last treatment I had, they removed one of my elements called oxyplatin of my chemo treatment because my platelet count was low. So instead of skipping the treatment, they just pulled that one thing out. So this one was a little easier to recover from.
Right.
But I'll go back to the oxyplatin coming up on Thursday at a 20% reduction. And the oxyplatin is the one that brings on neuropathy and nausea and some of that stuff.
You're experiencing all that right now?
Not right now. I'll experience that for about 5 to 8 days after my treatment. I have to go every 2 weeks. So I'll get home on Thursday from my treatment, and I'll still be hooked up to an infusion pump for 46 more hours. And they'll come on Saturday and unhook that.
Jeez.
And I'll be in bed from basically that Thursday when I get home till the following Thursday. I'll leave the bedroom collective maybe 3 or 4 times.
Oh, my God. How old are your children right now?
I have an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
Oh, so they're old enough to know what's going on. How's it going with your kids?
Oh, it's tough.
I'm sure.
It's rough on them, yeah.
Seeing their hero, struggling. I watched my dad wither away and die from cancer. It was a terrible experience.
I did too. And my dad went fast from when he was diagnosed. He was diagnosed in December in 2015 and was gone by February 21st,
What kind of cancer did your dad have?
He had stage 4 lung metastatic to the brain.
So my dad had, same thing.
Yeah. So, they remember when their grandpop died and, that whole thing. And so it's tough on them. Like, they see me now and they see that I'm feeling, like, decent right now, but they also see me after I get my treatment and I'm in rough shape.
Yeah.
There's not much I can do. I had to wear gloves because of hot and cold sensitivity. So, and I lose all my color. I look like, I look like, I feel like hell through each of the treatments, and they get worse every time because they're cumulative.
Jesus.
So I have 3 more left of the chemo treatments, the infusions. I've done 5. I have a total of 8. I'll have about a month off, and then I'll start the phase 2, which I'll be taking a chemo pill and radiation 5 days a week for about 5 weeks, and then I'll take about a month off, and we'll do scans, and we'll see where we are. I'll see if I have
And then
to
take it from there?
What's that?
I said you'll take it from there, and then, after that.
Yeah, I mean, I met with the surgeon, and she said, if that kills it all off, and if you're NED, which is no evidence of disease, then there's no reason to do surgery.
Right.
You go into a program called Watch and Wait, where they monitor you every 3 months with scans.
So they didn't take the tumor out; they're just shrinking it through all this, right?
Yeah,
Which is the best way to go. I don't think if you get cut open with cancer, it's not good.
So we've spoken to and been around a lot of people in the last couple of months since we've been doing the show that have dealt with these types of issues, and many people today. And we're gonna throw it out there, and you can throw it back. They're doing alternative things. Is there any alternatives that you haven't tried, or that you have tried to try, or that you've been prevented from trying?
Nothing I've been prevented from, and I've looked into a lot of stuff, and obviously, there's this internet. There's a lot of stuff out there, and there's a lot of misinformation out there too. Mm-hmm. Rogan, I think, has put out a lot of misinformation.
Okay.
With ivermectin and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I see all these people, and like a lot of bot accounts will send me stuff about they're doing this and doing that. But there's no science behind it.
Right.
Yeah, I can't find any science behind it. You ask for these people for science behind it, they can't provide it. They just, a friend of mine's friend. Well, that's not science. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not messing with my life on your friend of yours friend's referral.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
I'm going pretty standard. Yeah.
No, I mean, I have friends that have been. In fact, the person who produces this show with us, Natanya, she took this. I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm not a doctor. She took some mushroom mix that she deals with, and she went from she had a fairly large breast cancer they were going to take out, and 17 days later she went back to get it removed or a biopsy done on it, and it was gone. The whatever the lump was in her breast that was cancer that they wanted to check it for, the lump was gone 17 days later. Now, I don't know what she specifically was taking, but it was a mushroom mix. And
yeah, I've heard of like the mushroom mixes.
Yeah.
But I just can't find the science behind it.
No, I mean, listen, we talk about everything on here.
I think part of the problem is it's always been taboo, and the reason why there is no science behind it is because no one would actually look into it or do these trials. And maybe we're all a little bit more open-minded
the mushroom
these
ones,
days.
they actually do some trials on and stuff, like because they're using that for like schizophrenics, and,
everything,
hallucinogenics, and I think there's absolutely
there's
good
something
place
there.
For it. I'm a big fan of the mushrooms.
Okay, okay, good.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of very beneficial mental health things that it can benefit too.
Well, so yes, and those are different mushrooms. Those are different mushrooms than the mushrooms
that's psilocybin.
Yes,
Ibogaine. Are you familiar with Ibogaine?
No.
So we had a fighter jet pilot on here, Matt Buckley, one of our first episodes. I believe episode 7. Check it out; it's really good. He got into treating war vets, PTSD, and first responders with Ibogaine, which is a psilocybin.
Yeah,
and apparently
resets the brain.
Yeah, it's your 93% success rate when it comes to addictions and PTSD. Yeah, it rewires and reconnects your neurons and your transmitters in your brain. Yeah, it's a reboot.
Yeah,
yep. And it's like taking your iPhone that's all messed up now and reboot right back to factory settings.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Start over.
Yeah.
And yet, but it's still
I'm a big believer in that.
It's still illegal here because you can't make money off of one treatment and they're done. I mean, who knows?
They got to treat you forever.
Yeah, he's fighting.
Money and cures.
Yep, Matt Buckley's fighting to get this legalized. A very intelligent guy. I definitely recommend checking that episode out. There's a lot of information on about the mushrooms.
Yeah, also, a friend of mine is in the cannabis oil promotions, and he's Canadian, and he's been doing it for, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say 10 years. He's been producing copious amounts of cannabis oil used for shrinking tumors, and
I do take cannabis like with CBD and CBN and stuff in it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I say cannabis. I could be CBD.
CBD,
I'm not like I said from the beginning.
Yeah,
I'm not a
there's
pro at
mixes
this
and
stuff.
stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
I'm not
this
either.
it's cool. If anybody out there, Lee helps. I think I'll be more specific later. He's a Canadian guy who did time with me in McKean, Pennsylvania. Marijuana guy. He was a major marijuana mover, and then he went back home. And after so many years, he started up the cannabis pills. He gives it out for free.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He gives it out for free.
Yeah.
There's more to this, and he has people come to his home that have incurable cancerous lumps on their body. And I'm not going to say everyone because I don't know that to be true, but most people have had their lumps reduced ongoingly, and some of them have come in because he does testimonials with these people. I mean, I know the guy, so I know he's not lying, and he even sent some to a friend of mine, I don't want to say any more than that, in Canada, so that they can treat their thyroid, and the growths and stuff. So they're having some success. How if we don't get a doctor to sign on to it, it doesn't exist, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't. Yeah. But to be honest with you, and I'm just throwing it out there, I would imagine you're an intelligent guy. You've done a lot of research, and most people today do some research. They don't just start putting chemicals in their body that could actually be harmful as well. I would assume you're in the same vein as that. But I'm just bringing it out for everybody to be able to discuss, because I personally believe if there's something out there that can do something, we should all have access to it, or at least be able to try it. I mean, I would think you would. I mean, if your dad could have had it, right?
Yeah.
It might have given him 6 months or six more years. You don't know.
You don't know, and that's the shame of it too, because the pharmaceutical industry controls this stuff, whether it gets tested or not. And I think there is high benefit in natural remedies like mushrooms, that grows out of the ground.
Yeah. These things were put on this planet for a reason, and we don't know what the reasons were.
And we're just starting to tap into the resources.
And I'll say this much, and I'll go on a limb, because it started out with this marijuana, and I'm not a big marijuana guy. I hate marijuana. But that being said, it's proven that it's been helpful in a lot of different. It helps people get off of the pain pills, from what I understand.
Epilepsy.
Epilepsy. Yeah, there's many uses for marijuana.
Parkinson's.
So I think, and I'll tell you another story. My attorney, my third or fourth attorney, when I was away, when I was appealing my case, I had an appellate attorney. And my first appellate attorney left me because he was the original attorney that was trying to legalize marijuana, and he had to leave the country, and they were doing it out of someplace in, if I say Costa Rica, it probably wasn't, but someplace in South America or the islands, or the British Islands or something. He was launching the attack to America's judicious, illegalization system. He was the first attorney involved in it.
That'd be the 420 law.
To legalize. He was the 420 guy. Yeah, he was.
Initially, he was legalizing it for medicinal purposes.
Correct. No, that's absolutely true.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was my attorney. I couldn't tell you his name today, but if I looked at it, because I had a dozen attorneys by now, so who would have known? But
all right, so
good stuff though. Great. I'm so happy that things have changed.
Open mind.
Yeah,
we all have now. If we would have talked about this opening 10 years ago, I would have said you're nuts.
Of course.
You're out of your mind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I went with my oncologist initially, and my wife asked him about the benefits of any kind of marijuana and how it can affect. And he said, "Do you have your medical card?" And I said, "No." And he said, "No, I'll get it for you tomorrow."
Yeah.
Totally open-minded guy,
Right.
good dude. I really trust. That was a big statement to me that I can trust this guy.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He didn't turn you away from it.
Where are you getting treatment at?
You need a marijuana card? Boo, I'll get it for you tomorrow.
Great.
Yeah.
Where are you getting treatment? Can you say?
Yeah, I'm doing it through Penn Medicine. I do it through the Abrahamson Cancer Center in Westchester.
Okay. Yeah, it's my dad went to Penn, and Dr. Cianci. Shout out to her. She extended my father's life. I wholeheartedly believe that we would have lost him right away if it wasn't for her. And it was a good quality life.
Great.
For almost 2 years.
I go in for my chemo treatments every other week, like I was saying, the infusion. And I'll tell you guys, you live your whole life and you never imagine you're going to end up there, right? Like I'm walking around, I got the big pole with the infusion stuff on it, and I got to go to the bathroom, I'm walking down the bathroom, looking around and seeing all these people in there. First of all, there's way too many people in there.
I don't think it's
treatment.
I don't think it's if anymore, it's when.
Yeah.
It's not if I'm going to get it, it's when I'm going to get it.
I'm walking around. I'm walking through there. I feel like I'm in a movie. You know what I mean? I'm like, this isn't my life. Like all of a sudden, this is where I am. I'm hooked up. I'm getting chemo at 53. It's surreal. And
Now, the headspace you're in right now, it's something that all men have a problem with. What's your advice to men watching this right now? Because you obviously waited. You did what we all do. We want to deny. Screw it. I'll get it looked at later. It's probably this.
rub some dirt on it, it'll be fine, right?
Yeah, just move on, especially our generation.
Yep.
What do you have to say to people listening right now?
Listen to your body. If you feel like something's wrong, don't just put it in denial. Just go to the doctor and go to your primary doctor. Or when you reach 45, get a colonoscopy. I had 3 other polyps removed during my colonoscopy. That had I gone at 45, maybe what turned into be, my sigmoid rectal cancer would have just been a polyp, and they just would have removed it.
Right.
But I didn't, and it did turn into that. So just go. It's not a big deal. It's not. You don't need to freak out about they're sticking a camera up your ass or whatever. All that stuff. It's you know nothing. Everybody should get it done, and because this is preventable. Colorectal cancer is preventable, and early detection, obviously, with any cancer is key. Yeah. So I would say listen to your body. Take the requisite steps, the recommended steps of getting checked at certain ages for certain things, because you're seeing people younger and younger, 32 years of age with colorectal, like that's crazy, right? So just get it done. It's not when. You're right. It could be just if.
It's when.
If when. Yeah. So, and then dealing with it, like I've told people a lot, it's 70% of it's physical and dealing with the treatment, and 30% is mental. It twists your brain. It messes with you.
So for the record, are you currently using CBD as well right now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to note.
Did you feel anything when you take it or afterwards?
No, I take it's got THC in it, so it does relax me, and because the THC is also good for nausea.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And look, there's an anxiety that comes with.
Are you smoking it or are you taking pills?
I take an edible.
Okay.
An edible. Okay.
Yeah.
Dosage? Can we ask dosages and stuff? I don't know if I'm allowed to.
I take 7.5 milligrams
at a time.
Yeah.
Once a day, twice a day.
Once a day. Yeah.
Before bed.
I take it generally, like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it helps you sleep. Do you take the one? Do you take the? Was it sativa or something?
Yeah, it's sativa and I forget what
indigo.
Indica.
Indica.
Yeah.
That's the sleep one, and sativa is the energy.
Oh, I don't want.
I take the indica.
Yeah, right. Because you want to go to sleep at night.
Yeah, I want to relax.
Yeah.
And like, in the beginning, I couldn't sleep more than 90 minutes or 2 hours because I had a constant sensation that I had to take it.
Okay.
So, but the chemo has shrunk the tumor enough where now I'm in a position where I don't have any of those symptoms anymore.
Well,
I used to have to run to the bathroom every 20 minutes.
This is a good sign.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And how have the Flyers organization been with you? I understand they've been great.
Phenomenal. Yeah, they've been so supportive. Just whatever you need, whatever you want to do or can do is up to you. The support's been crazy.
How about you and Torts, the coach? You guys are.
Yeah, I'm pretty close with Torts. He and I do a podcast, the Hockey and Hounds podcast, together every week, and I don't know why he and I just hit it off when he was named the coach, but we did. And he treats me like a player, kind of like
you're part of the team.
Yeah.
Part of the team.
Yeah, and he's not, and he'll be like, you check on me a couple times every week, and how you doing, and and I'll say, I'm going in for treatment on Thursday, and he'll tell me, don't get up, just make sure you go in there, you don't mess it up, but like that's like kind of stuff like I need to hear, like I don't need everybody going,
Thanks for saying that, because a lot of guys when they're going through, they don't want the sympathy, they just want support.
They want their friends to break their balls.
Just break my. I have a guy that can't walk. Okay, he's cerebral palsy. Good friend of mine. In fact, I don't leave his name out of it for now because he's a great kid. And I said, you want to dance, motherfucker? Like, and I'll tease him. Well, how are you going to catch me? I'll run. And he laughs. Laughs like heartily when I tease him like that, because he just wants to be one of the guys.
He wants to feel normal, right? Like I remember when my dad was going through cancer, I had hit up a buddy of mine whose dad had died of cancer like a year or two prior. And I said, how'd you navigate it with your dad? He goes, just don't treat him like he's sick.
Yeah.
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 You know what I mean?
I was dragging my
Because
dad
he doesn't
out.
want that. He doesn't. Your dad's got too much pride.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be like he's sick. Just treat him normal. Talk to him normal.
Yeah.
I took my pop to Hooters.
Ask him if he can still get a hard
Yeah,
on.
I
Can you
did.
still get a hard on? I mean, things like that.
I took him to Hooters, took him to the racetrack,
Yeah.
brought him around my friends. He would sip on a beer. He loved it.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you
had
just
to.
want to be normal. You know, like.
I'll deal with my illness. You keep me happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Broke his balls with his
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got people constantly checking on me, and I appreciate it so much.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah, yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
the support of the hockey community and everybody.
So financially, are they covering everything for you? Is that how's that working
Yeah,
out?
nothing's changed for me in regard to them with financial. I've taken a hit in other places because I piece a lot of things together.
Okay. Yeah.
But
But
there's certain things I can't do.
Do you get
know?
bigger medical bills? Your medical covered by them?
Yeah, I mean the medical. It's through my wife's employer, my medical. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean they pay for some stuff,
So-
but there's
so important.
they're building up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got to ask. I got to ask. 'cause
Yeah.
In the hockey world, teams from across the NHL have been reaching out.
Yeah, I've heard from some other guys on other teams and broadcasters and stuff like that. Like John Walton is the guy who's going through what I'm going through with the Caps. He's the radio guy there, and I've heard from players that were here. I heard Claude Giroux the other day. I was
Nice.
very tight with his player.
How about Bobby Clark? Anything from him?
I've not seen Clarkie. He's not around that much right now.
Okay. How is he physically? Because I know he had diabetes at a young age, most of his life.
Still doing good. Yeah, Clarkie's still doing
Does he?
good.
Is he still connected with the Flyers?
In some ways, he ambassador role.
Okay. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
up there in years.
Yeah.
You see Coatsy?
I talked to Coatsy the other day. I haven't seen him, but I talked to him. He's checked on me a few times. When the article came out on NHL.com last week about my story, I didn't know it was coming out on Wednesday. I had done the interviews for it kind of like a month before with the writer and stuff,
Right.
and it came out on that Wednesday. And when I woke up that day, and it mentioned in the article that my idol growing up was Ron Hextall. So I was a goalie, and Hexy was a madman. I loved the way he attacked everything as
He
a
was
player.
great.
And the first text I see when I get up was from Hexy.
That's great.
So it meant a lot.
Yeah.
Your idol sends that to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I saw the article. I know you're going through it right now. You got my support and stuff, and
I'm going to throw.
see that's very cool.
I'm going to throw a name at you. Hockey. Dennis Gineras. Now, you doesn't ring a bell, I'm sure, but I believe if you could let me know and let him know later on. Dennis Gineras, I believe he was on your in Flyers farm team. He was a kid from Brentwood, Long Island, New York, and he played hockey with me in my high school team, Brentwood High School. And he went on to do quite well, but never quite broke through because who was blocking him? Dennis Hextall was the guy in front of him going out on the Flyers. So yes, I'm a hockey family. My brothers, we all played hockey as young guys, and one of my brothers, the brother underneath me, played for the Waterloo Blackhawks. I don't know if you're familiar with was it AHL or something like that, American Hockey League. Yeah, and he lost his position because he didn't speak French. He tried out for the Toronto Marlies, who is the Montreal
team.
But I think that's the Montreal Canadiens farm team is the Marlies. But I could be wrong on that.
No, Toronto's the Marlies.
It is the Marlies. Okay, he went for the Marlies, and they broke my neighbor's jaw the first shift on the ice. They broke who was the highest scorer in New York State. They broke his jaw. My brother was his feeder, who made him the highest scorer. They couldn't break his jaw, but they tried. They tried, and he was 19 and too old.
Yeah.
It's a great
You're
sport,
too old
man.
quick, man.
Yeah, too old at 19.
You remember Kevin Dineen?
Yep.
That was my favorite Flyer, man. That was my nickname. I was scrappy playing hockey.
Yeah, his dad was a coach for a while.
Yeah.
Gildenine. Yep.
Yeah, and Pat LaFontaine was on the Marlies, and was the guy Pat LaFontaine was a walk on. He made the team when
Prior to playing for the Islanders for all those years.
Yeah, he played for the Marlies.
This guy's hockey knowledge. All right, so who's your favorite Flyer?
I mean, growing up, my idol growing up was Hexy. Since I've been kind of working in media, it's like you don't really have a favorite player per se anymore.
Not
there's
in
guys
this
that
era.
I've covered though that, like the guy who's the general manager for the Flyers, Danny Briere, now is
Fantastic.
Schultz.
the classiest guy I ever covered.
It wasn't Schultze or Billy Barber or any of them, was it?
Yeah, I mean those guys are before my day. Obviously, working with the team, I see those. I see Billy around quite a bit.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
yeah. I heard he was. That's why I threw his name out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you watched. Have you watched the Flyers play the Russians? Did you watch
of
that
course,
game?
yeah.
Yeah, I figured
Yeah.
you would.
Yeah,
It's a classic
75.
game. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, the Red Army game.
I used to rent that at Blockbuster. Actually, 4-Star Video.
You know, I don't
Walk
remember
up
that
there
game,
right
but they had the long pants, though, didn't they?
Yeah, I think
No,
so.
that was the 80s.
Was it the 80s?
Yeah, 82 is about when they won.
Okay, I can't remember. I'm old. It's dating me now, Liv. I can't
you remember
remember.
the Cooper Alls 1982.
Yeah. You don't even remember them, do you?
I know the pants.
Oh,
yeah,
did you?
yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. You're a kid.
What's your favorite Flyer event? Favorite thing that happened in Flyer? It could be a game, could be a celebration.
I mean, going
whatever.
to the Cup final was crazy. You know, when they won the Eastern Conference in 5 over Montreal, going to Montreal, doing games there, like that's a temple of sport.
Yeah,
right?
you
I was
know.
there for. I was
It's
there.
like Notre Dame.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
I was there for one of those games.
Yeah, crazy. Like
yeah, it was
bananas,
great.
right?
It was nuts. There's nothing like playoff hockey. There's no other sport
and
better
in
than
Montreal,
playoff hockey.
forget about it, right?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, like being in that atmosphere with the French and Canadian and the whole thing. You know, it's like being in Europe in Montreal all of a sudden too. It's weird. So yeah, I mean the Cup run in 2010 was insane.
Yeah,
it was incredible. You just didn't expect it. They get into the playoffs in the last game of the last year in a shootout against the Rangers. You know,
How about
and they go to the playoffs, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're in Chicago on Memorial Day weekend. Roy Halladay pitches a no-hitter while Game 2 of the Flyers in the Cup Finals going on. Crazy.
All right, I got one. Where were you for the triple overtime win?
The Keith Primo one against the Penguins.
Yeah, it was like
5 overtime.
5 overtimes, yeah. Where were you for
I
that?
wasn't working then. That was like 2004, I want to say, or 2003, something like that.
Yeah, it might have been 2002.
Yeah.
Right around
I
there.
don't remember. I was in prison.
5 overtimes.
Yeah, 5 overtimes. Flyers made the series 2-1. I was at the bar.
So was
in
I.
Westchester.
I was falling
Yeah.
asleep. We're all
Never saw
falling
the bar
asleep.
empty so quick when they turned off the TVs in the 5th overtime in the middle of it.
They turned it off?
They turned it off in a bar I was at, yeah.
We were at Wade's. You know where Wade's is? Comedy in the Boulevard in Philly? Classic
yeah.
Northeast bar. We're at Wade's. It was the police hockey league. We had a police game. And afterwards, that was our sponsor. We went back to the bar, drank our faces off, and we're
5
falling
overtimes.
asleep. It was about 2:30 in the morning.
I grew up with Stemkowski. Stemkowski was the Rangers who scored. You know, guys, you weren't even born yet, probably like 73, 60. I don't remember the year even myself, but the 3rd overtime, Pete Stemkowski scores. I'm listening to it on the radio. A guy like you give me because they didn't have.
They had square sticks back then.
Yeah, they had square.
Yeah, no curve on the
square,
blade.
square pucks
Yeah,
too.
square pucks. Yo, I gotta say, dude, that's a great mic.
No, that's his voice.
No, it's not the mic doing that.
No, it's his voice.
Wow.
You can tell he's a professional. With
Yeah,
that
he's
mic,
good. He's got it hooked
right?
up nice. Yeah.
Jason, is there anything else you want to say? It's a great interview, man. Thank you for coming on and
I
sharing this
appreciate
information.
you guys having me. You know, just trying to create awareness about.
Yes, we're happy. Very, happy to have you help us do that too as well.
Yes, I appreciate you guys. Letting me get my story out and talks about some sports, talk about some hockey, have some fun. And,
Yeah, man. And Dave
What
is
it's
only
all
says
about,
hi.
man.
You like the jacket?
I do like Jack. You look like Crockett,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Miami Vice.
You know what he does.
yeah. That's
Where's Sonny at?
what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. We're doing the vice.
Wait, Crockett and Tubbs,
doing the
right?
vice look.
Sonny
yeah.
Crockett.
Yeah, Tubbs and Crockett. Yeah. I got the pink one next week.
Oh, God.
Yeah, nice.
I
And
gotta bring
pastels.
something in.
I can't pull off the pastel. I don't look right at it.
Dude, yes, you can.
Yeah, you'll be
You
all
can
right.
definitely pull it off.
Just do it. Just do
Yeah.
it. They love it. They love it. Believe me when I tell you, they love it.
So, actually, I do have one more question for you. You just say you can't pull off the pastels. Has this changed your philosophy at all? Your mindset, like, screw it, I'm going to do what I want to do, or,
Yeah, totally.
Freedom, almost.
Yes, it is. You got to figure out how you're going to deal with it when you get told it. Like I wasn't surprised when the doctor told me I had it. And he said, we got the test results back. You have cancer. I wasn't surprised. I was prepared for that
Right.
as best I could, but
Yeah.
it still buckles your knees, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, and I had to figure out right away, how am I going to deal with this? Am I going to, go off and hide in a cave, or am I going to be public about it? And I decided right away, like, okay, okay, I got cancer.
Cancer.
I'm
Let's go.
going to take more from the cancer than it's going to take from me. So it was that was my philosophy going into it, which is why I went public. And I knew I could help people, and I knew, and just as much as I knew I could help people, I knew people could help me.
Yeah.
And like I've met all these cancer buddies, people I don't know that I correspond with multiple times a week now, that are going through it. We go through it together, strength in numbers and all that. So, but how it's good, it's already affected the way I live every day.
Good.
not just because I'm getting treatment, but it's affected me mentally and how I'm going to approach every day after I beat this.
Yeah.
You know, and how
I love it.
I do things. So absolutely,
I'm on your team. I'm on your team when it comes to that. Just live every day.
Yeah, I mean, look, you don't know how many you got, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's a number somewhere. There's a number. They just don't tell you. There's a number though.
Nobody's going to come up and say, "Hey, you got 100 left, or you got 200 left, or you got 10 left."
Well,
you don't know.
There's two numbers: the birth and the death.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's a born on date and an end date.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, Jason, thank you
Beautiful.
so much.
So glad you came on.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
It was
I
great
appreciate
having
it,
you.
guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you once again. Another great episode. You can check us out at goodcopbadcoppodcast.com. You can get all our socials there. You can check us out on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple, and top 15% of all video podcasts on Spotify because of you. Thank you very much. On our website, you can check out some merchandise. You can hire me and Mike to come talk at your functions, hang out, party, whatever you want us to do. Although Mike don't drink and party anymore.
That's right.
Thank you, guys. We love you.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yes, sir. Subscribe.
And
Thanks,
cut.
Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
This episode is sponsored by
New Solutions Network.
AR Law, PA State Rep Martina White, Biondo Creative, Morrow Flooring, and Pops McCann Whiskey.